Welcome back to another summer edition of Channel 6 Sports. I'm Shelby Seitz, and I'm here with Hunter Sanders and Dylan Brown, and today we're going to be talking about some UCA football. The Bears finished the 2015 season 7-4, just missing the FCS playoffs. What grade would you give them?
I would give them a B+. I think how they played last year, and they only lost to the number 1 and number 2 teams in their conference, I'd say that it fits them about right.
I'd give them a B. They did have a pretty good year. They had a couple of big injuries at quarterback and running back position, but it was a solid year. They did have 2 losses to the top 2 teams in the conference, so I'll give them that. But a B would probably be my grade.
With this being Coach Campbell's second season at Central Arkansas, what do you think about his philosophy for coaching the team?
I love his philosophy. The players seem like they're definitely buying into it. They just love playing with him. He loves being their coach. I love his philosophy of having a very good defense and strong run game. This year it may not be quite as much of a run game. They may have to lean on the pass game and Hayden Hildebrand more, but I definitely love his philosophy.
I agree with Hunter. I think the players really buy into it, and not just the players, but the coaches. I mean, when I was there, just the way they look at him and respect him, and he just is a natural leader to him. And I just really believe with what he said about the running game. If you can establish a good running game, which they did with 2 different running backs, and then to play a great defense, which they did, I think that's really key, and that's a main philosophy that I think he does really well.
One of the biggest surprises of the 2015 season was running back Blake Veasley, who finally got his chance as the number 1 running back for the Bears. What do you think of his performance?
I think he did great. I mean, he had over 1,000 all-purpose yards. He was a featured back. He'd been wanting to be the featured back, and when it was his turn and they called on him, he stepped up to the plate and performed.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised by how well he did actually, but he definitely exceeded my expectations. He played very well. The fact that he did that with 2 different quarterbacks switching in and out constantly just shows that how good he was and how consistent he was at the position.
Another name we mentioned a lot during the season was Hayden Hildebrand, who started the season as number 2 quarterback and ended the season as a starter. What surprised you the most about Hildebrand's play?
What surprised me the most about Hildebrand was just how he came in and just took control of the offense. There were lots of linemen that were seniors. Blake Veasley was a senior. Lots of seniors and juniors on the offense. He just came in and he was the leader as a sophomore, and that really surprised me and impressed me.
I'd say his passer rating, he had a 147.59, and a perfect rating is 158.3. And he started 5 of those games, which isn't a whole lot, but it's just almost half the season. And to have that much completion in your first real season, I think that's really amazing.
The Bears won 7 games in 2015, 5 of which Hildebrand started. If he would have started 11 games, do you think he would have won all of them?
I don't really think they would have. I mean, it's really hard just to name one guy and say he would change the whole outcome of all the games. I mean, I think he's a great player and a performer, but I keep them where they are. I think the only thing different would have been a couple of the scores. But other than that, same record.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Dylan. I think they might have been able to win the McNeese State game. That was a game they were winning 13-7 in the 4th quarter, and then the offense turned it over a couple times, ended up giving up 21 straight points, and they lost. I think they might have been able to win that game, but, it takes a whole team to win. And then the other 3, I don't think it would have made that much of a difference because they're all kind of blowout losses. But
this team just missed the FCS playoffs with the loss to Sam Houston State. During the offseason, what do you think the coaching staff is focused on for the team?
Well, I was able to talk to Coach Campbell a couple of weeks back, and he said that they're just focused on this season, all this new team. They're just putting last year behind them. It was a tough loss to end the year when they almost made the playoffs, but there's lots of new faces coming in. They're expecting them to step up, and they're just wanting them to focus on this season and focus on Week 1 versus Houston Baptist.
I think it'd be to start fast and finish strong. I mean, the few games they did lose, I mean, if you look, most of them were like blowouts. So if you can just, start off fast or just keep yourself in the game, keep your composure, and finish strong, even if you do lose them, it's a lot closer and you're in them a lot longer than being blown out.
Now that Hildebrand has had a full camp as starting quarterback, what do you expect from him in 2016?
The sky's the limit for this guy. I mean, I really believe he's going to put up some big numbers for UCA. He had 12 touchdown passes, over 1,700 yards. I think he's going to double it. I'm going to say 25 touchdown passes at least, 3,000 yards passing, and he's going to keep it under 10 interceptions for the year.
Yeah, I agree with Dylan. Pretty similar prediction for me. I say between 2,500 to 3,000 yards. 20 to 25 touchdowns and under 10 interceptions, like 7 or 8 interceptions, something like that.
Graduation hit the 2016 hard as the Bears lost their lead rusher and 5 starting offensive linemen. How big of a question is their running game?
It's a big question. It looks like it might be a concern right now. Again, losing 5 starting offensive linemen and losing 2 running backs who combined for 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns last year, that's going to hurt no matter what team you are. It's a big question. We'll see who steps up. Maybe might have a running back by committee approach, and we'll see how the running game pans out.
I think the running game will be fine. I mean, you lost your 2 big main guys, but like what Hunter said, there's a new coach called Coach Warner. He's a running backs guy, and he's a great guy. He's a former running back himself, played college ball, had a chance, got offered at Canadian Football League. But, I mean, he knows what it takes to play. He's a smaller guy, and like what Hunter said, it's going to be a running back by committee. You're going to have your goal line package guys, your power backs, your scat backs, your screen backs. You're going to have backs that you use just for pass protections. I mean, they're going to have it locked down, I believe.
Is there a player you expect to emerge as the number 1 running back option?
I'm going to go with Darian Daniels. From what I've seen, he looks like he could be the lead guy. He's going to be a scat back, but I really believe he could contribute. Plus, I mean, he's got great hands, so that's another option that's available for them too. You can put him out in motion, have him running from the slot, or use him as a screen guy. He's just a dual threat.
Yeah, right now I'm not sure if I could pick one guy to be the feature back. There's lots of talented faces out there. Darian Daniels, Kelton Warren, Jeff Anderson, Antoine Wells. Right now I might see, like Dylan was saying, have a power back, have a scat back, have a screen back, have one just for pass protection. Just have different variation at the running back position. And who knows, maybe one steps up during practice, takes the reins, becomes a feature back.
On the defensive side, the Bears have a huge gap to fill with Jonathan Woodward. Is there a player you expect to come up and take his place?
I don't know if any one player can replace Jonathan Woodward on the defensive end. He drew double teams every time. He was just consistently getting in the backfield, sacking the quarterback, hitting him, pressuring him. I think there are lots of different guys, though, that can step up and play better than last year. I like Trayvon Smith at corner. He had 5 interceptions last year, tied for the team lead. Defensive line, I like Terrence Partee and Dawson Hadnot, both inside, disrupting, stopping the run, maybe getting to the quarterback a few times. And also I like James Graves. He's a transfer at linebacker position. I think he could play well.
I don't really see there being a guy to really replace Jonathan, but if I had to go with somebody, I would pick Ricky Dobbins. Last year, he was a freshman and he's a nose guard. He had 2 sacks as a freshman, and I mean, he's just a big guy. He's going to be a good run stopper. He's going to wreak havoc on the quarterback, open up lanes for the other guys to get to him, open up lanes for the linebackers to come through. I think he's going to be a good replacement.
Looking at this 2016 schedule, what game are you most excited about?
I'm ready for the season finale against Sam Houston State. That really stopped the Bears from going to the playoffs, and I feel like they've got a lot of revenge ready for that game.
That will be a big game, but it might not matter quite as much if the Bears don't take care of business before then, because they come in there with a 6-4 or a 5-5 record. They may not even have the chance to win the conference during that game. But I do like that game, though. Also like the Arkansas State game. That's what I'm most excited about. They have a great offense. They always do. They go bowling. Seems like every year. They win the conference every other year. They have a great team, and it'll be fun to play an in-state team like that.
With the Bears opening with a straight at home, how important is it to get 3 wins?
It's pretty important. Starting at 3-0 would be very successful, I feel like, because following that you have to play Arkansas State. Then a couple weeks later you got to play the defending conference champion McNeese State. So starting out 3-0 would be big and definitely give them some confidence.
I would say whether you're on the road or at home, to get 3 and a win is a good accomplishment. It really builds the confidence in the locker room, gets the guys going, playing harder. But, I mean, to get 3 in a row at home, that brings in more home crowd, that gets your fire burning, it gets everybody ready to go play harder in front of their home crowd. And I believe that sets in an intimidation factor for the opposing teams that have to come there and play.
The Bears play Arkansas State in between the conference games of Northwestern State and Abilene Christian. Is this the toughest 3-game stretch of the season for the Bears?
I would say yes. After Northwestern, they play 2 straight road games, and that can be really difficult. I mean, one of the games isn't in conference. It's a non-conference game. So then to come back and have to play 2 conference games on the road, that could be a tall task.
Mine's a little bit different. I'm going to say the stretch where it goes Arkansas State, then Abilene Christian, then McNeese State. That'll probably be the toughest 3-game stretch, I feel like. Obviously, Arkansas State's a good team. Abilene Christians, they're still rebuilding, but I feel like they can give UCA a run for their money. And definitely the defending conference champ, McNeese State. Even though they did lose their head coach, lost some really good players, but they do have the experience, and they're going to be tough to play, especially on the road.
After winning the 2015 Southland Conference Championship, McNeese State's head coach left for Louisiana Monroe. With the Bears finishing third in the SLC standing, do you think they are in the top two for the SLC heading into the next season?
Right now, I'd still put them at third behind McNeese and Sam Houston. I know McNeese lost their head coach, like I was saying earlier, and Sam Houston's obviously very good. They made the FCS semifinals, lost to North Dakota State, who has won, I believe, 4 in a row, so that's pretty big. I think they could finish the season second, though, maybe even win it all, depending on how Sam Houston State plays out. But right now, I'd put them at third.
I'd say yes. I mean, with your head coach gone, that is a huge void to try and fill. And looking at UCA, 2 seasons ago they were 6-6 under Campbell's first year. Then they go to 7-4. So they've improved each time. And I believe this year is really going to be their year to leapfrog them because they're going to catch them at a weak point. And I really think they can take and lock in that number 2 spot.
What are y'all's final predictions for the 2016 season?
I'm going to see UCA go 10-1. As much as I hate to admit it, I believe they're going to get a loss on the final game against Sam Houston State.
I think they're going to go 8-3. I think Sam Houston State's going to be tough. Arkansas State, I don't know if they can handle them. And then a couple other conference games, they might just slip up there, maybe against Southeastern Louisiana or Stephen F. Austin. But 8-3, I think, would be the record.
Do you think this team has the ability to make it to the FCS playoffs?
I think they definitely do. Guys are going to need to step up, though. Hayden Hildebrand's going to have to play lights out. The offensive line, all 5 new starters, are going to have to gel well together and play good. The defense, they're going to have to play as well as last year probably. They're going to have to replace Jonathan Woodard, but I think this team, if they can get it together and Coach Campbell can lead them to the playoffs.
I'll say yes. I think they are a lock for the number 2 seed. With the head coach being gone and the way they played last year and the way they placed in conference, I believe they are a lock for number 2.
All right, and then what are y'all's bold predictions for the season?
Bold predictions. Well, go big or go home. I'm going to say UCA goes undefeated at home, and every game at home they win by at least 10 points.
Ooh, that is a bold prediction. I'm going to single out one guy, Desmond Smith. I think he's a very good receiver. And with Jatavius Wilson drawing lots of attention with his speed and deep threat ability, I think that Desmond Smith can break the school single season receiving yardage record, which is already 1,197 yards. So he had to get about over 100 a game, but I think he can do it.
Well, thank you, Hunter and Dylan. I'm Shelby Seitz. This has been another summer edition of Channel 6 Sports, and we'll be back with more.